Hi everyone, this is Tammy, owner of Worthyworthitpriceless, and today's podcast is titled While You're Waiting. I know for a lot of us, waiting on God is hard, especially if you're impatient. I am super impatient, and now I realize that maybe it's God working on me, but I'm telling you, I hate slow drivers. I hate going slow and all that stuff. And I know that God is working on me on some of those things, but it doesn't make it easier. Like usually if you know the outcome, you could go through certain things a little bit easier. So just say if you're making a cake and you put it in the oven, you know that once it's over, you'll have a beautiful cake. But sometimes if you're like super hungry, you don't want to wait for the cake to be done. And that's the thing sometimes with us when we're waiting on God. And we want God to do something that He promised, or we're waiting for our lives to change. And it just seems like everything is just getting worse and worse. And what I want to give you encouragement to do is not become bitter, not become to the point where you get angry at God. And I know that that's sometimes like the first thing. It seems like we get a hardened heart and all these things. But the one thing that we have to realize is that God is developing us while we are waiting. I know that for me, it's like every day or every week, it's like there's another lesson that's learned. And I'm like, man, I'm glad God didn't take me out of my waiting period too early before I got this lesson. Because imagine you getting to the next level or where God's promises is, and you can't really sustain that, or your mind isn't right. I remember when I moved down to Georgia, even though it was like 3 months, but in my mind, I was going down there to live. My issue was my work in Niagara Falls wasn't done. So what happened is my body was in Bainbridge, but I was basically calling Niagara Falls all the time. And so my mind was in Niagara Falls, my body was in Bainbridge. And a lot of things that I could possibly accomplish, I couldn't do it in Bainbridge because they didn't have all the same things. So just say they didn't have a Sally's or something. I think Sally's was somewhere farther off. I didn't drive at the time. And then just say Joann's and stuff like that. I could normally go to like regularly in Niagara Falls. I couldn't do those things in Bainbridge. And I wasn't ready. And my mind wasn't fully there. And so what I'm saying with that is that a lot of times we want God to take us somewhere, but we're not fully ready to basically experience and enjoy that part. Just like another example, just say if you're putting a cake or whatever in the oven. If you take it out too early, what happens? It usually falls. It's not fully done. Why? Because everything in it is not developed. And that's the encouragement that I want to give you. I know that it's hard to wait. I know that it's hard. I'm going through that same thing right now, and you have no idea how it was so hard for me. Like earlier this week, I'm like, my goodness. You know what I mean? It seems like my life is somewhat in a routine. Getting up in the morning, getting my daughter to my mom's house so she can watch her while I go to work, and then go picking her up and then getting her ready for school. It just seems like a cycle or a routine. But the thing about it is, whatever I'm doing right now is getting me prepared for what's next. And there's certain characteristics or that I might have that needs to be worked out before I get to the next level. And although even in your life, you might feel the same way, like you feel like a hamster on a wheel and it seems like it's never ending. But God is developing you just like how it is in the cake that we were talking about in the oven. Like for everything to come together, it has to bake properly or be in there in hiding for a while. And so while you are in hiding, just like the cake, God is developing you. And so when you are ready to get to that next level, everything in you will be developed. Your confidence will be there. Anything that is needed, the experience, all of those things will be there. And so you won't have to really look for other people to do those things. And then God will also add the people into your life that's going to help you while you're on that level. And you also got to think too, that it's not just you that also needs to be developed or whatever for that next level. There may be an assistant that needs to be there for you. Just say you might have to hire employees or whatever, and he's getting everybody in line, not just you, but everybody in line. And he's working behind the scenes on your behalf. I know you can't see it right now, but when it all comes together, you will see like, man, okay, this all made sense. And I know that we get to the point where we're impatient. I am there right now. I'm right along there with you. But the thing about it is, I have to realize is that it's just not me. And God will renew you. He will renew you and everything that's inside of you. Like that old life that you used to have, you won't be there anymore mentally or even physically. God is getting your new home together, all these things. So just realize that if you have not moved yet, it's because you're not ready. If you were ready, you have already moved and you've already would have went to that next level. But everything is not prepared for you as of right now. And I know that's not something easy to hear, but it is necessary for you to hear because I don't want you to give up right now. I will be 1,000,000% transparent. Even like, I think it was Sunday. It was Sunday. And like, I was thinking about like my routine, like I just talked about. And I was like, man, I am tired. I was so exhausted. I was like, I've never been so tired in all my life. And I felt like my heart had gotten hardened. And right before I went to sleep or whatever, I was watching, I don't know if you guys know, but know him, but it's Darrell Walls from the Walls Group. He also has like a little church thing that he does on Instagram. It's called Acts Church. So long story short, he goes on live like right after I say these things. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. And as I'm going on live, what he states is what God was telling him. It's like, some of you guys are waiting, but God says he's going to renew you. And it's like, what? Like, so basically it was just like God said at that moment that he hears me. So I pray that if you're going through the same thing, that this is encouragement for you to realize that God hears you. He sees you. He knows that you're impatient right now, and he knows that you want to just get to the next level. You're tired of your routine, all of those things. But he wants you to know that he loves you. He hasn't forgotten about you. He's getting everything in order for you. And don't overthink this part, because I know that's something that I've done. Do not overthink this part. God has everything inside of you that you're going to need, and he's developing the things that you don't have just yet. So don't be afraid. Don't go angry. Don't be bitter. Don't feel like your life should be over or you just want to hurry up and rush things. Do not take anything into your own hands. I'm not saying like taking your life or anything like that. What I'm saying is like, don't take matters into your own hands to the point that you want to try to make moves yourself. Please don't do that. I've done that a lot of times and I've messed up, and it's not something that you really want to have God. Like, God, can you please help me out of this? Like, no, just wait. Because when God does things, there's a smooth transition. You don't have to beg, borrow, or steal. You don't have to, maneuver certain things when it's God. When it's God, the door is just open for you. So I just want to give you that encouragement. While you're waiting, just know that God is with you. It's not over for you. It's not done. It is a process that you are going to need to be developed in, but it's not over for you. God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And until next time, always know that you are worthy, worth it, and priceless. You got this, and God has you. Bye.